பண்ணாலும் ஒரே மாதிரி சீரா போகாது. ஒரு மாசம் ஜாஸ்தியாகும், ஒரு மாசம் கம்மியாகும். இந்த வாலண்டைலிட்டியை நம்ம வந்து சேர்த்து இண்டஸ் வேலி ஆனுவல் ரிப்போர்ட் ஒரு 2025 வெளியிட்டிருக்காங்க. அதுல முக்கியமா ஸ்டார்ட் அப் கம்பெனிஸோட அவங்களுடைய தகுதியை அவங்க வந்து எப்படி எவாலுவேட் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க. அவங்க எப்படின்னாக்க ஃபர்ஸ்ட் கன்செப்ஷன் அண்ட் ஃபார்மலைசேஷன் ஒரு சப்ஜெக்ட், அடுத்து ஸ்டார்ட் அப் எக்கோசிஸ்டம் எவாலுவேஷன், நெக்ஸ்ட் ஸ்ட்ரக்சரல் சேலஞ்சஸ், ஃபோர்த் மார்க்கெட் டைனமிக்ஸ், ஃபிஃப்த் ஸ்ட்ராட்டஜிக் இம்ப்ளிகேஷன். இந்த 5 சப்ஜெக்ட் பாத்தீங்கன்னாக்க இன்னைக்கு நம்ம கண்ட்ரியில எந்த பிசினஸ் பண்ணாலும் பிசினஸ் நடக்கிறதுக்கு முக்கியமா இருக்கக்கூடிய அந்த ஏஜ் குரூப் பாத்தீங்கன்னாக்க 22 வயசுல இருந்து 35 வயசு. இந்த உங்க முன்னாடி கூடிய ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ், அடுத்து ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸா முடிஞ்சு கேரியர் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணக்கூடிய 35 வயசுக்குள்ள இருக்கக்கூடிய ஜெனரேஷன் தான் கான்ட்ரிபியூட் பண்றாங்க எல்லா பிசினஸ்லயும். ஆன்லைன் பிசினஸ், அதே மாதிரி நீங்க எல்லாம் ஆண்டர்பிரனரா மாற சொல்லுங்க. சில பேரு முக்கியம் 3 பாயிண்ட் மனசு வச்சுக்கங்க. ஃபைனலா லாங் டேர்ம் விஷன் இருக்கணும், எம்ப்ளாயர் எம்ப்ளாயி ரிலேஷன்ஷிப் முக்கியம் அப்படிங்கறத தெரிஞ்சுக்கணும், வின் வின் ஆட்டிடியூட் அப்படிங்கிற முக்கியமானது. எந்த ஒரு தொழில் வின் வின் ஆட்டிடியூட் இருக்கணும். நம்மளும் வின் பண்ணோம், கஸ்டமர் வின் பண்ணோம், நம்மளும் வின் பண்ணோம், நம்மளுடைய வெண்டாரும் வின் பண்ணோம், நம்மளும் வின் பண்ணோம், நம்மளுடைய எம்ப்ளாயி வின் பண்ணோம். அந்த ஆஸ்பெக்ட்ல நம்ம ஆட்டிடியூட வளர்த்துக்கணும். 3 தான் சொல்ல விரும்புறேன். 2வது, எந்த ஒரு தொழில் பண்ணாலும் நாங்க நம்புறது we believe 3 things: லிபர்ட்டி, ரெஸ்பான்சிபிலிட்டி, ரிசல்ட். ஒரு எம்ப்ளாயிக்கு லிபர்ட்டி கொடுக்கணும், எந்த அளவுக்கு தர முடியுமோ லிபர்ட்டி தரணும். 2வது ரெஸ்பான்சிபிலிட்டியை டிப்ளாய் பண்ணணும், அதை வந்து கரெக்டா ரோல்ஸ் அண்ட் ரெஸ்பான்சிபிலிட்டி டிப்ளாய் பண்ண தெரியணும் எம்ப்ளாயரா. 3வது ரிசல்ட் மட்டும் தான் மெஷர் பண்ணணும். ரிசல்ட் மெஷர் பண்ற அந்த ஸ்கில்ல ஒவ்வொரு எம்ப்ளாயரும் வளர்த்துக்கணும். 3 தான் நான் முக்கியமா சொல்ல வேண்டிய ஆண்டர்பிரனர்ஸ்க்கு. அண்ட் I personally feel happy even after 35 years பிசினஸ் பண்ணியும் நீ ஹாப்பியா இருக்கேன் அப்படின்னாக்க the way in which we manage the show.
I want one student to say few takeaways from his lecture. அவர் சொன்னதுல இருந்து நீங்க வந்து என்ன புரிஞ்சுக்கிறீங்க, அதுல என்ன முக்கியமா இருக்குன்னு நினைக்கிறீங்க? யாராவது சொல்லணும், அப்புறம் தான் அடுத்த ஸ்பீக். யாராவது சொல்லணும்.
key takeaway அவங்க வந்து எவ்வளவு எம்ப்ளாயிஸ்க்கு வந்து இம்பார்ட்டன்ஸ் கொடுக்குறாங்கன்றது வந்து இதுல இருந்து தெரியுது. அதே மாதிரி வந்து லாஸ்ட் எம்ப்ளாயர் ரிலேஷன்ஷிப் வந்து எவ்வளவு முக்கியம் ஒரு பிசினஸ் வந்து பெருசா கொண்டு போறதுக்கு. நாட் ஒன்லி வந்து நம்ம வந்து நம்மளோட ப்ராஃபிட் அளவுக்கு பார்க்காம நம்மளுக்கு வேலை செய்யற எம்ப்ளாயிஸும் வந்து நல்லா இருக்கணும் அப்படின்ற ஒரு மோட்டிவ் இருந்தா அவங்களே நம்ம கம்பெனியை வந்து வளர்த்து கொண்டு போவாங்கன்றது வந்து இது வந்து ஒரு கீ டேக்அவேவா இருந்துச்சு. தென் வந்து the win-win situation, not only us, நம்மளோட கஸ்டமர்ஸும் வின் பண்ணணும்னு சொன்னது வந்து கீ டேக்அவே.
தேங்க்யூ.
சரி, உங்களுக்கு பண்ண அட்வைஸ்
நியூஸ் பேப்பர் படிக்கணும்.
படிக்கிறீங்களா?
I'm not a newspaper reader.
எவ்வளவு பேர் படிக்கிறீங்க? யாரும் இல்ல சார், 2 பேர் கேட்குவோம். அது சார்
ஸ்டார்டிங்ல பிசினஸ் வந்து எப்படி கீ டேக்அவே இருந்துச்சு. இப்போ நாங்க as a students வந்து we are going to stand up now. இது ஆக்சுவலா ஃபாலோ பண்ணா we can succeed in our confidence வந்து push பண்ணுச்சு.
And the other thing I'll tell you, he hasn't gone to
Yes.
So, did you listen to him? The way he spoke English and he articulated everything. And he standing there for the first time in podium, he's saying, we should all develop that kind of capacity to address unknown people, different people who are in different kinds of needs. So far, he should have addressed people, his own clients, his own customers, employees, so on and so forth. He's addressing and just simply educating you with all his experience. It doesn't come automatically.
Respected Chair, Shakti Vel sir, Shakti Narayan sir, and dear participants, dear faculty members, students, all of you, good afternoon to everyone. So myself, Dr. Kondal, acting as assistant professor in Department of Economics, Central University of Tamil Nadu, Thiruvarur. So here, whatever the presentation which is going to be presented by me, it is totally different from the previous presentations. So here, in international conference, so my special thanks to the organizer, Dr. Shyam Sundar sir and his friend Balaji sir for inviting me as a panel speaker. So before starting the presentation, I would like to say something that our title as well as our main theme of the conference. So here, that the panel discussion on social sustainability and climate change and social entrepreneurship. So here, within this, they mentioned that redefine the business, growth, innovations, and resilience. So, since it is a boring after having lunch, that too heavy lunch, quality lunch. So, if you are going to be in silence, then I am going to present it. That hand resilience in the resilience. Okay. So I want to be specify that there is some 2 theories are there in with respect to microeconomics. I think probably that commerce students might have studied the microeconomics. That is, we have the static and dynamic theories. So I would like to concentrate on dynamic. Since I am junior among the panel members, all the speakers, so I will be dynamic like you. So here the dynamic approach which says that general to particular. So I cannot talk particular to general. So because since I am a little bit young like you, so I should be talk with the particular, general to particular. So my presentation on climate change and its impact on agriculture yield. At the same time, that impact of climate change on fisheries, especially aquaculture. So my presentation will start with first we need to understand the next slide, please. So the climate change will have that direct impact on countries' budget, that's called estimates, and terms of trade, economic growth rates, and social welfare. So I think most of the people might have watched some movie which is released recently during the Pongal in Telugu, that is called Sankarati Vastunam. I don't know what is the movie name in Tamil. Can anybody tell that? Okay. So there is a one song is there. I think if you are going to understand Telugu, uh, that logically, technically, finally. Okay. So here I would like to go with that 4 statements. So before going to study in depth of any particular study, we have to understand the basic aspect. So therefore I have taken the basic aspect that impact of climate, that is climate change will have direct impact on trade, budget estimates, terms of trade, economic growth rate, and social welfare. How these 4 are interrelated, we need to understand the basically. For example, as we are talking about social entrepreneurship, means the entrepreneur, they are going to produce the goods and services. So how they are going to produce the goods and services with the help of the raw materials such as called inputs. So when they are going to produce an output, they should to produce the output with sustainability without harming any other nature. So therefore, after producing goods and services, we are going to utilize its excess things, either maybe goods and services, we are going to export it. While we are exporting that, we are going to get some income that is called foreign exchange or foreign reserves. So that will be comes under that budget estimates and terms of trade. And among that principal sector, since we have the Indian economy, we have the 3 sectors broadly: agriculture, industry, and service sector. Among these 3 sectors, the agriculture sector is the most vulnerable to the climate change. If the climate change, it affects mostly on agriculture sector compared to the industry and service sector. And the agriculture sector is highly dependent on weather and climatical factors. So what are the climate factors are there? We need to understand. See here, now to understand the climate change, the key indicators, the first one is the temperature. So that global average temperature have increased significantly in recent decades. For example, if you are going to observe, especially we are going to observe in Chennai and especially in Tiruvallur, we usually get heavy temperature. So that heavy temperature can cause the production of the crops. Either it can take food crops or non-food crops. And it impact on weather pattern and agricultural season. For example, in olden days, there is a certain pattern is there, nothing but in a certain season, we used to get rains. Nowadays, we are unable to get rains during the particular sowing season. And that changing rainfall. For example, if you are going to look at a rainfall data over a period of time, the rainfall pattern have been become more erratic, and which leads to droughts, floods in different regions, disrupting the crop growth. For example, so that rainfall is required for the crop growth, but at the same time, that how much the water rainfall is required, that much level only we are going to use. If the rainfall is excess that limit, so it will affect on the crop growth. And extreme weather events. For example, the frequency of intensity of extreme weather events, heat waves. For example, wind also can affect on the crop growth. For example, photosynthesis. Those who have studied biological things, they may not understand the photosynthesis. And wind also have positive impact on the crop growth. And droughts are increasing day by day. So, which is causing a severe damage to the crops and livestock of the agriculture products. Next slide, please. And we have to understand how this climate change affects on agriculture. The temperature, precipitation, that is called rainfall, and extreme weather. For example, as I told you that high temperature can lead to accelerate economic growth, crop growth, but also increase of water evaporation that causes stress of the plant. The changes in rainfall pattern lead to the water shortage. For example, some particular year we used to get excess rainfall, certain year we used to get less rainfall. Whenever we are going to get less rainfall, we usually get the shortage of water. So therefore, it will affect on the crop. That extreme weather events like droughts and heat waves, floods can cause a widespread crop. So that crop will be failure. Next. Then we need to understand overall that impact of crop production. So these are the main points which we can understand The first one, the soil degradation, reduce of fertility. So what do you mean by soil degradation? For example, when we are having more rains, that rainfall is more, the soil degradation will be there. The fertility will be decreases. Therefore, the soil erosion is taking place. Therefore, we could not able to get more output per acre or per hectare. Right. Next one is the increased pest and disease outbreaks. For example, here the temperature and humidity create favorable to the this warmer of this pest or the condition of that pest and diseases. For example, here if the temperature and humidity which is very favorable to get more diseases. When it comes to the water scarcity, that I discussed earlier, that if that rainfall is there up to the mark, we used to secure the water through different aspects. There are some different with respect to state, they have the different plants. Water management act also there, and water management ponds also there. We used to store the water according to our convenience. We are going to utilize it whenever we have the scarcity of water. And the next one is the shifting crop growing and harvest season. As I told you that due to that high rainfall or less rainfall, if the rainfall is may not happens in particular season. So therefore, we are shifting the crop growing and harvesting season. For example, instead of sowing our crops in the month of June, July, we are able to sowing the seeds in the month of August and September because of no rainfall in the particular season. And whenever we are going to sowing the seeds in the month of July and August, so automatic harvest period will be changed. So therefore, at the time of harvesting, we usually get rains. Indirectly, it affects on the that output of the agriculture sector. And so that leads to the loss of crop diversity, no longer to be grown in the traditional regions. For example, if you are going to understand, most of the grandparents, they used to cultivate certain crops. Nowadays, nobody is cultivating. So the traditional crops has been changed. Nothing but that there is a shift towards the commercial crops. So for the commercial crops, we need to use more fertilizers, more pesticides. Then only we are going to get more output, and the farmers used to get more income. So therefore, whenever you are going to concentrate on profit, like since you are from commerce, you are going to think about less investment, more profit. Nothing but minimize the cost, maximize the profit. So the commercial crops also same. In this case, they are trying to invest less investment, and they are trying to get more output, nothing but profit. But indirectly, the farmers are putting lot of fertilizers and pesticides to the particular plants, so that land degradation is taking place. Nothing but the fertility rate will be decreases. Best example you can take Punjab and Haryana. Earlier, it is a good example for paddy and wheat. Nowadays, that the productivity per acre and hectare has been declined, and that is what reduce the crop yield. For example, if anybody can say that if their farmers are going to get less yield, nothing but the production per acre is less, then how it can affect on their livelihood. So that we are going to discuss in the second part. Then when the yield is decreases, it can affect on the food security. For example, just now in the morning, that most of the speakers spoke on that the food safety, nothing but we should have to eat properly. So just you can make a question that whatever they are given, they distributed that food, whether you had properly food or not. For example, if you want to take an example that in order to produce a 1 kg of rice, the farmer is going to supply 4,000 liters. You can imagine that if a farmer belongs to town, if he is educated, instead of cultivating a paddy to produce 1 kg of rice, how much he is getting now? On average 40 to 50 rupees per kg. Instead of producing the paddy, if he is going to sell the water to the commercial purpose, one tanker on average, then how much he will get it? See, that much sacrifice is taking place, and you have to understand while we are wasting the food also. So indirectly it affects on the food security. Next, please. How does that agriculture yield variability respond to the inputs and climate variables? So this is the main subject which I am going to present based on some evidence. Next slide, please. Yeah. So this is the question that whether these climate variables and agriculture inputs can affect on the agriculture inputs and climate variables effects on the agriculture yield or not. So in order to that, to assess that the short run and long run relationship between the climate variables and agriculture inputs on the crop yield. So I have taken the two crops, food crops, two food crops, two non-food crops. The food crops are, I have taken that rice and wheat, whereas non-food crops I have taken oil seeds and cotton seeds. For that, I have taken these kind of variables, that's the agricultural yield that is measured in kilogram per hectare, and the carbon emission, that is CO2. So this is the climate variables. All four are climate variables: CO2, annual rainfall, mean temperature, energy consumption, and fertilizer consumption is agriculture inputs. So that I have used the data from 1971 to 2021, almost all 50 years data. So that I use the methodology, that methods, descriptive statistics, since you know from commerce background, then you know that what you mean by descriptive statistics, then correlation. I think those who are from a little bit from economics background, they know about unit root test, co-integration, vector error correction model, Wald test, and other diagnostic tests. See, next slide. Yeah. So to assess the relationship between these climate variables input, agriculture input on yield. So I've used that multiple regression function that is called yield versus yield is function of the CO2, rainfall, temperature, energy use, and fertilizers. First one, the descriptive statistics. So these descriptive statistics which can describe the variables. So how much that average value is there, how much that value is deviating from that is mean value, and these are the mean values and standard deviation values. And last one is a very important, that JB test probability value. So here, whenever you are going to proceed for that economics analysis, we need to know that whether the data has been normal distributed or not. So therefore, we use the Z-bar test. All this probability value shows that more than alpha value, that is called 0.05, which shows that all the variables are normally distributed. So therefore, we need to know that whether these variables are having some relations or not. So that way, next slide. Next is results of correlation. We are going to understand that how much relation is existing between these variables with respect to the yield variables. Nothing but ln ry means that rice yield, wy means wheat yield, oy means oil seeds, cy means cotton seeds yield. So if you are going to look at these star marks are there now, so it shows that there is a strong correlation between the variables, which shows that both variables are having a positive relationship between the variables, whereas some variables are having negative relationship between the variables. This shows that both, if there is a negative value, it shows that both variables are moving in the same direction, whereas if the negative sign is there, it shows that there is a negative relationship between variables. Means if one variable moves to the positive direction, one variable moves to the opposite direction. So once we have the correlation, we need to know that regression, that is called causation. So if we don't have any relation, there is no causation. So therefore, since we found that all the variables are having correlation, therefore we need to know the regression. So I did not use that simple regression, multiple regression. I used that econometrics model. So before proceeding that economics model, we need to know that whether the particular variable is stationary or not. For that, next slide please. For that, I use that ADF test and PK test. So that is called augmented decupular test and Phillips-Brand test, which shows that whether the variable is stationary or not. If the variable is stationary, the level form or first difference or second difference. So there is a methodological aspect is there. If that some variables are having high zero process, some variables are having high one process, we need to use ARDL model. Since we have all the variables are having stationary in the first difference of the first difference with the intercept values, if you are going to look at the p values, all the p values are having less than 0.05. Therefore, we can conclude that all the variables are in the first difference. When we have having first difference, we need to know that whether these variables are having the long run relation or not. So in order to know the long run relation, we need to use Johnson co-integration Engel-Granger model. So I used that Engel-Granger model, Johnson co-integration model. Before proceeding, this is a Johnson co-integration model, which shows that whether these two, agriculture input variables, that is called fertilizers, and climate variables, are having a long relation between the crops, that maybe rice, wheat, oilseeds, and cotton. If you are going to look at that, all the variables are significant at most two. For example, if you take rice, so this the draw statistics and maximum eigenvalues are more than its draw statistic respective critical values. Therefore, we are going to reject the null hypothesis. We are accepting the alternative hypothesis, which shows that there is a long run relation is existing between these two variables. Means that whatever the time that I have taken 50 years, as one variable is moving towards to the one direction, other variables also moving the same direction. Means the both variables are moving the same direction. So it indicates that both the variables, nothing but all the variables are having that long run relation between this agricultural rice crop, wheat crop, oil seed, and cotton crop. Once we know that long run relation, how much there is a relation is existing. For example, better we can understand. Generally, we can use it to our friends. For example, sometimes when you are going to introduce your friend to some other friend, you may say that he is my friend, she is my friend. At the same time, you are going to say that she is my close friend, best friend. So there is a difference between friend, best friend, close friend. In this case, even we have the relation, we need to know that how much relation is existing between the variables. So therefore, in order to estimate that coefficient value, we need to estimate the what is called Lagrange criteria to choose whether the present variable depends on its own lag or its previous lag 2 or 3 or 4. So in order to know that whether the particular yield variable or wheat variable, oilseed variable, or cotton variable, it depends on its own lag or its second lag, we need to know that Lagrange criteria. So next, the Lagrange criteria, there are 5 tests are there. Among them, that LR, FPE, AAC, that is the IKK information criterion, SIC, SC, that is the Shaw's information criterion, HQ, RQ criterion. So mainly, we are going to consider these 3 tests out of 5 tests. So these 3 tests shows that food and non-food crops, which is Lagrange criteria, is the only one. So therefore, the star mark is there. It shows that. So we that rice present year yield, it depends on its own lag. Means the 2021 yield depends on its own lag. That is the last year lag. At the same time, oilseed and cotton, which is showing that Lagrange criteria is 1. So therefore, we need to understand that whether how much that agricultural yield crops such as food and non-food crops depends on its own lag along with its climate variables as well as agricultural input variable. Next slide, please. So here, in order to know that the short-run long-run relationship, I use that VCL model, that's called Weather-Actor Correction model. It shows that how much the long-run relation is existing and short-run relation is existing. If you are going to look at the coefficient values of rice, wheat, oilseed, and cotton, see here, since I use that EU software to estimate all these coefficient values, so in this case, what are the coefficient values which I got it? I show to interpret in the opposite direction. If you are going to use other model, that is the ADL distributed model, we should use as per the results. But whereas here, we should interpret the opposite direction. See here, that ln CO2 minus 1 means that agriculture yield, the rice yield depends on its own lag of CO2, such as called 0.58. It means that negative, as I told you, since it's a positive, we should interpret the negative. Means if 1% increase in carbon dioxide, which leads to reduce the agricultural yield by 0.58 percentage. Remember that if 1% increase in carbon dioxide, which leads to decrease the agricultural rice yield by 0.58 percentage, which is statistically not significant. When it comes to the rainfall, as rainfall increases, it affects on the yield of the crop. As I told you, here see, if 1% increase in rainfall, which is adversely affect on agricultural yield by 2%. If you are going to take temperature, the temperature is very important variable which can cause that agricultural yield. See, if 1% change the temperature, it affects negatively on agricultural yield. That is called 34%. Whereas this energy use, EU means energy use, I have taken as a proxy variable EU, such as called tractors, harvesting, machine technology, and other variables, such as called use of diesel, petrol, and cold storage facilities. When the farmer is nothing but when that in our country, those who are going to utilize more these energy resources, their yield is increases. If 1% increase in energy consumption utilized, it impact positively by 1.4%. It's a positive relationship. With respect to fertilizers, as I told that fertilizer is a positive impact. If you are going to use more dose, then it will affect on negatively. Therefore, here we have a positive results. As 1% increase in fertilizer consumption, it leads to increase the agricultural yield by 0.6% in the rice yield. The similar way, if you take wheat also, that CO2, rainfall, temperature, which are having negative impact on the wheat production, wheat yield. With respect to that energy utilization and fertilizers, which are having positive impact, which is significantly on wheat yield also. With respect to non-food crops such as oil seeds and cotton. See, for example, if you take into account the rainfall and temperature, which is having statistical significant adversely on oil seed effects, oil seed yield. And with respect to energy consumption, energy utilization, and fertilizers, which are having the positive impact on oil seeds. Same way that cotton also. The cotton, yeah, the similar way which we have that there is a some. You see what you want to understand that whatever I have taken the climate variables, 4 variables out of 4 variables, 2 variables are negatively, adversely affecting on the crop yield, whereas one variable which is climate variable, energy inflation, which is having the positive impact on the agriculture yield. With respect to the non-agriculture input such as for fertilizers, which is having the positive effect on agriculture yield, such as on agriculture, food crops as well as non-food crops. And after having that longer relation, we need to know that whether we are whether these variables are having short-term relation or not. For example, in the long run, we have the relation. Within the short run, there is a divergence, there is a convergence. So, for example, if there is any, I think you might have learned about equilibrium. So, this is called nothing but equilibrium point out. Whenever we have having a disequilibrium, then how much chance is there to make an equilibrium? Nothing but convergence and divergence. For example, here, which is showing that ECT, that is called error correction model, which is having bottom, that is ECT value, error correction model. Here, which is having the positive, so it shows that if ECT values are negative, it shows that there is a convergence. If we have positive, there is a divergence. Means since we have the longer relation, but with the short term, we don't have the short term relation is extinct between the variables. Why? Because these all the agriculture changes will be happen in the long run, not short term. So whatever you are going to take agriculture production function, I think you might have learned in that commerce also. The production functions are 2 types based on the time, that is called short run and long run. So during the short run, we are able to change only labor but not capital. Since the agriculture output is depends on both capital and labor rather than other variables are keeping constant. So therefore, This majority of the climate variables are in the long run, not in short run. If you have heavy rainfall in 1 day, 2 day, it will not affect positively on agriculture yield over a period of time. That either it may be 3 months or 4 months, 5 months. It depends on the season, harvesting time of the crop. So therefore, we don't have the short run relations existing between the variables. Next. To know that whether the short run relation is existing, statistical significant or not, we use that wall test to know that this the probability value of chi-square, if it is more than 0.05, it shows that there is a short run relation is existing. And we need to know that this is called post-mortem analysis. After running the model, we need to know that whether the results are accurate or not. Since in the morning they have discussed about AI. Since if you are going to give the data in AI chart GPT, they will analyze it. But that chart GPT does not know that which is dependent, which is independent, which variable which can cause the other variable. For example, if you think that since you are from commerce background, you might have studied the correlation regression. Some people might use that if you are going to give the data on X and Y, then you are going to find that relations Y and on X and Y. If I am going to give the data rainfall and population, I can assume that rainfall is a X, population is a Y. Do you believe that as rainfall increases, population also increases? Mathematically, you can do it, but there is no logic behind the selection of the which is the dependent variable, which is independent variable. So meanwhile, should we know that basic knowledge about the application things. So therefore, after running all the model, you need to know that whether this serial correlation is existing in the model or heteroscedasticity is existing in the model or whether the data is normal distributed or not, you need to check it. So therefore, I use that 3 tests that is called Bruch-Godfrey test and Arch-F test. Arch means auto regressive conditional heteroscedasticity F statistic value, JB Jagg-Barra test. So all these values except the Cartan for the normality, all the probability values are more than alpha value, that is called 0.05. We can conclude that there is no presence of autocorrelation, heteroscedasticity and normal distribution. So we can conclude that all the results are accurate and reliability. Next. Since we have the time only 5 minutes, so this is whatever the presentation has done, that is based on secondary data. We have to understand how the climate can affect on the fishermen. So recently we conducted a study in Nagaur, which is very close to our place, therefore we conducted. So how this climate affect on the production of the fish or other agricultural output, that which shows that which leads to the food security risk, such as called livelihood of dependence. As I told that when there is a less yield, it will affect on the farmer's income. When the farmer's income is less, it affects on their livelihood pattern. So we have some empirical data which is related to the sustainability. Just take the next slide. Yes, I don't want to explain all those things about the fishery sector. Next slide. Yeah. Despite of its fishery sector growth and the fishery communities are also facing different challenges like social, economical, environmental challenges, because which is related to that our environmental aspect, sustainability. There is a decline in fish stock in the sea and ocean, that inadequate access to the markets, health issues, children's educational access, habitat degradation, over exploitation of the fish, and which can cause the climate change, which affect on the society, such as called sustainability. So therefore, we need to address to sustain its economic and nutritional conditions. Therefore, the fishery communities often remain marginalized because they are systematically facing different kind of challenges that under the sustainable development. To address this kind of concerns, we need to understand that livelihood indices. There are 5 indices are there, which I am going to explain it. Next slide, please. So this is the conceptual framework which is developed by DFID, that is called Department for International Development, which is introduced in 2000. here, see, if you are going to look at the first, this figure, see that the fisherman is catching the fish, then based on that catch the fish only, the stock is going to get income. Once you will get income, it will affect on their livelihoods. What are the livelihoods are there? There are 5 capitals are there. It names human capital, natural capital, financial capital, physical capital, and social capital. Once it will affect on these livelihoods, what are the outcomes will be there? For example, when he is going to get income, then it will affect on that increase in income. Once his income level increases, his welfare also will be increases. Then once welfare increases, he is going to concentrate on his basic amenities, basic needs. Once his basic needs is fulfilled, he will go with that food security, and overall it will reduce the vulnerability of the fisherman. Next slide, please. This we conducted a study based on 60 fishermen. See that the source of livelihood, all the fishermen are depend on only that catching the fishes only. Out of 60, only 4 people are able to work when there is a off season for catch the fish. Remaining, it shows that 56, almost 93% of that fishermen are unemployed during the off season. So therefore, how they are going to sustain during the off season, which will affect on the all the livelihoods. Okay. So that how much income they are receiving. So majority of the people, the 61% of the respondents are receiving less than 10,000 rupees per month, and the main expenses are like this. And during that fishing operation, they used to get bad weather. Next slide, please. Next slide. When we are asking a question that whether the fishes are available or not in the sea, they say that out of 60, that only 56% say that fishes are not available. Whatever the capacity which we had in earlier 5 years back, the fish stock is not available. It means that the fish stock is reducing year by year. Therefore, they are unable to catch more fish. Therefore, they are unable to earn more income, which will affect on their livelihoods. And the reason for declaring that overfishing, pollution, and climate change and habitat destruction is taking place, and the coastal erosion also is taking place. Next slide, please. So, moreover, most of the fishermen are getting health issues. As I told you that, if you remember correctly, that there are some lot of studies are there. Those who are consuming leafy vegetables where they are going to cultivate by using that river water which is polluted. So therefore, indirectly it is harm to the human beings. Those who are taking the vegetables also. Therefore, it will affect on their health. Since these fishermen are able to engage in the sea, therefore they usually get more diseases such as allergy, back pain, body pain, dizziness, kidney problem, salty weather headache. There are different kinds of problems which are faced by this fisherman. And next slide, please. Yeah. So this is the multiple regression which I use that. Here, that education level is playing a very important role to get more income, which shows that 0.22 means as education level increases in terms of years of schooling, it leads to get more income. Those who are educated, they are getting more income. Those who are uneducated, they are getting less income. And the number of fishing days, for example, sometimes per month, all the fishermen are unable to work due to their challenges and their other things. So those who are working days are more, they used to get more income. So remaining variables are negative impact. For example, dummy have taken age above 45 and less 40 years. Those who are having above 40 years age, they are getting less income compared with those who are age is below 45 years. Yes. So I would like to conclude that with respect to this phenomenon, especially with respect to the social entrepreneurs. Since we are concentrate on social entrepreneurs to reduce the burden of the climate change, being as entrepreneurs, they should to follow the sustainability accounting process practices, and to produce the goods and services, they will go with that minimum cost, maximum profits. So when they are going to compromise minimum cost, maximum profits, so they are unable to produce the quality product also. So therefore, we should to concentrate on quality. Then it will affect on. It will means that when we are going to produce the quality products, it will give the more life. Therefore, we are unable to produce the commodity again and again. therefore it will affect on the society. That is the environmental aspect, carbon dioxide. And since we are from commerce, we are going to produce goods and services that minimum cost. Don't think that it's a profit motive. Always it should be think that it is a efficiency motive also. And if entrepreneurs will not produce goods which is with sustainability, it will harm to the society. That is called tragedy of commons in our economic. That is called, it will be the cowboy economy. We can say that the tragedy of economics will be there. So therefore, not only agriculture sector but also industry also plays a very important role to reduce that climatical variables, like nothing but reduce the carbon dioxide and other climatical variables in the society, which will harm to the agriculture output as well as industrial sector. Next slide, please. Yeah, next. So this, for respect to the primary crops, that we need to adapt climatic resilient crops, and diversification should be promoted to the drought resistant crops, where the crops are being assist with that heavy rainfall. We need to shift from that crops to other crops. Increase the renewable energy use in farming. With the smart farming, that is, we can use the solar, and encourage the sustainable farming practices to minimize the effect of chemicals such as fertilizer and pesticides. Next, come on, next. Last but okay, thank you. Sorry for taking more time. My presentation is more empirical compared to general, so that's why I'm taking more time. Thank you very much for giving the space, and thank you very much.
So moving on to the technical session, that is going to be a special lecture going to be given by the New York professor. Right, the profile reading will be done by Akshay. It's online link. It's an online link. Technical team. You got it right? Profile will be done by Dr. SESSION-2 ma'am. What happened to online link?
A nation is formed by willingness of each of us to share in the responsibility for upholding the common good. Barbara Jordan. This sentiment aligns closely with today's session on organizing citizenship behavior, a concept that highlights the importance of proactive, responsible, and ethical participation in an organization. Good evening to one and all present here for this first edition of International Conference on Redefining Business Growth, Innovation, and Resilience, organized by the Fiji Department of Commerce SHIFT-2. I'm Akshay Dhanashekhar. I'm delighted to welcome you all to the Day 1, Session 2 of ICOP 2025. It is an honor and privilege to have such a distinguished gathering here today. To introduce our esteemed guest, Dr. Shamira Malekar ma'am, I now invite Ms. K. Sasireka ma'am, Assistant Professor of College.
Kindly unmute you. Good evening to one and all present here. I'm very happy to introduce our speaker, Dr. Shamira Soren Malekar, to our August gathering, to our international conference on redefining business, growth, innovation, and resilience. She is a member of a panel discussion too on the topic social sustainability and climate change, social entrepreneurship. Dr. Shamira Soren Malekar is a distinguished business management academician with extensive international experience, renowned for her innovative teaching methodologies, cultural awareness, and dedication to student success. She is currently a professor at the City University of Newark, Borough of Manhattan Community College, where she has progressed through roles as assistant and associate professor since 2016. She has also served as an adjunct associate professor at Pace University and Touro College and as a faculty member at various prestigious institutions in Mumbai, including Mumbai University and ITM Karga. Her academic work is deeply rooted in emotional intelligence, leadership, organizational behavior, and human resource management, with a prolific record of publications in international journals and books, including Success with Emotional Intelligence and Emotional Intelligence and Leadership Summit. She has presented research at global conferences, organized summits, and served as a keynote speaker on topics ranging from startup ecosystems to stress management in the workplace. Dr. Maleka holds a PhD in Management Studies from BITS Pilani, a postgraduate diploma in Business Management, and a Bachelor of Pharmacy from Mumbai University. She has received numerous awards, including the Learning Impact Award, Women Researcher in Management Award, and multiple Best Paper and Research Excellence Awards. Her leadership extends beyond teaching. She has coordinated university-wide programs, served on academic senates and faculty committees, and mentored students through research and honors programs. She actively contributes to professional organizations like the Forum of Emotional Intelligence and Learning and serves on advisory boards of research associations. In addition to her academic career, she gained valuable industry experience as an export officer at the FDC Limited and the management trainee at Cipla Limited, contributing to regulatory compliance and quality assurance processes. She remains committed to lifelong learning through professional development programs and community involvement, volunteering for organizations like the United Synagogue of Hoboken. Dr. Maleka's multifaceted career reflects a passion for research, education, and societal impact, making her a highly respected leader and change maker in the global academic landscape. It's indeed a great privilege and honor to read the profile of Dr. Shamira. After reading her profile, in fact, I realized that we are fortunate enough to have you, ma'am. There is no doubt that our audience would be thrilled and excited to hear from you. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Shamira by giving a huge round of applause. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Sasireka ma'am, for that wonderful introduction. And now, without any further ado, let us hear from our esteemed chief guest, Dr. Shamira Maleka ma'am, who will be sharing their insights on organizing citizenship behavior. Ma'am, the stage is yours.
Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, can you?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Can we begin? Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the special lecture. Thank you so much for the organizers for this honor. I'm delighted to be there. We're going to talk about organizational citizenship behavior, and this entire international conference, the focus has been growth and innovation. So let's talk about some of the innovations which have been done. In the computing sector, we talk about Apple Vision Pro,
That's a headset that could transform spatial computing and the metaverse. There is quantum computing that could lead to faster computing, new materials, and chemical modeling. There is quantum cryptography that could lead to more secure communications. In healthcare sector, there is a OH1 health device that can monitor heart rate, blood oxygen, sleep, and body temperature. Another innovation in healthcare is about a small molecule for health failure, a compound that could reduce inflammation and fibrosis in heart failure patients. I mean, I'm sure in the 2 days you will be talking about it. That's why I'm introduce you to some of them. Genetic manipulation as well is another innovation that looks at advances increasing the availability of organs for transplant. In the transportation sector, there has been sustainable aviation fuel, which is a collaborative effort between airlines. There are transparent smartphones, which is a research project at various labs. Other innovations include defibrillator in a backpack, which is a small defibrillator that can fit in a travel bag. There is the sprig shower infusion system, right? That is a device that adds aromatherapy to your shower. There is the cybersecurity dashboard, which is a centralized dashboard that monitors and responds to a cyber threat. All these are certain innovations which have taken place, right? Even with these innovations, the behavior of an individual counts a lot. Even though there were so many innovations which have taken place, how the supervisor, the boss, the head of the department, the CEO, the chairman, the managing director answers to us, responds to us, speaks to us, communicates to us is very crucial. And that is something which is the focus of this talk today. So, our presentation is looking at OCB in short form. OCB, organizational citizenship behavior, the why, the what, the how, and some of the learning points. I will be looking at some of the researchers which have come up with comparison with the different aspects, including personality burnout. Then we will look at organizational citizenship behavior with various countries and research which is done in various countries, and ending with the benefits and some of the challenges. Sounds great? Everyone ready? So, when we look at organizational citizenship behavior, the first thing that comes to our mind is what is it? What is organizational citizenship behavior? So in 1988, a researcher named Organ, he defined OCB, organizational citizenship behavior, as individual behavior that is discretionary, not directly or explicitly recognized by the formal reward system. So something which is voluntary, not recognized by reward system, it's just helping in the betterment of the organization. The originator of this concept was Bernard in 1938, where it was about willingness to cooperate. I mean, is there willingness to cooperate? That's the key feature in OCB. Another researcher talked about distinction between dependable role performance, innovative, and spontaneous behavior. That's something which was in 1978, where they're talking about OCB linked to dependable role performance. Another researcher, which was in 1983, had comprised for 2 dimensions of OCB. That was number 1 was altruism. Altruism is nothing but helping a specific person right? The second one is looking at generalized compliance. So two aspects of OCB, helping a specific person, and second one is generalized compliance. But nevertheless, there was a discretionary quality where it was a common path to follow discretionary behavior, common trait of OCB. Another researcher in 1991, he spoke about OCB as organizational behavior compliances which benefit the organization. He also looked at immediately specific individuals which directly or indirectly they contributed to the effectiveness of the organization. So another important aspect is altruism. As we said, we have courtesy, which is the courtesy of the individuals to one another. Consciousness, whatever we speak, are we conscious of each word? Number 4, civic virtue, what are our virtues, value systems, and also sportsmanship. So, in every organization, there may be ups and downs, but to avoid frustration, burnout, negativity, OCB is useful. There were researchers which talked about practical opportunities of organizational behavior that led to positive consequences for the organization. Another researcher in 1999 defined OCB as a behavior that is extended beyond organization's requirement for a formal job description. Okay, it is referred to as actions that are performed by the employee surpass the minimum role requirement expected by the organization and promoted the welfare of co-workers and work groups. Right? That was one of them. There was one learning we have till now is OCB is actually nothing but looking at going beyond our expected work behavior. Correct? That's what we have learned till now. So typically, OCB should be voluntary. Number 1, it should be voluntary. Behavior must produce benefits from the organizational perspective, right? And third is the behavior must have multi-dimensional nature. Sure. That's something which is very critical. It has to be voluntary, has to produce benefits for the organization, and it has to be multi-dimensional. So, another Indian researchers in 2008, they spoke about OCB as discretionary behavior that is increasing effectiveness by helping co-workers, supervisors, and the organization. So finally, let's look at some of the 7 distinct types of OCB. Right? Number 1, we're looking at helping behavior, including voluntary acceptance and preventing occurrence of problems which are work-related. Right? Sportsmanship, that includes acceptance of unverifiable incidences. Imagine unverifiable incidences. And the concept of sacrificing self-interest. Right? You're sacrificing self-interest for the greater group or for the organization. Okay. Third aspect is organizational loyalty that promotes the organization to outsiders and protecting, defending against the external threats and remaining committed even under adverse conditions. You're looking at organizational compliance. What does that involve? Organizational compliance involves total embracement of organizational rules, regulations, and procedures. It's the observation of the rules and regulations scrupulously, even when the employee is not monitored. I mean, it's like, why if only under supervision? Our aspect is When we are not monitored as well, we have this behavior depicted. So individual initiative, that is another aspect which includes engaging in task-related activities, in any task, with extra enthusiasm and greater willingness to achieve tasks over any professional obligation. Okay. Next aspect is the civic virtue that involves inclination to participate actively in the governance of the organization. Okay. Lastly, it's self-development. I mean, it's all about what's in it for me, right? In the end, we may have big words, big things for the organization, but yes, even though we self-sacrifice, it's about self-development as well. That includes seeking improvement on one's knowledge, skills, abilities, and to enhance one's contribution to the organization. Okay? So once again, what is OCB? As defined in 2019 by Chahar, he says that it's a position an employee has towards the organization while extending his behavior or her behavior beyond the normal duties of tasks at hand. All of you with me till now with OCB? Right? We still have a lot to cover. So we looked at suggestions for OCD. We were looking at maybe flexible workplace design, telecommuting, a lot of focus on working from home, spending time balancing between professional life and family activities, job sharing. I mean, two or more people trying to do the same job. Somebody comes on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and somebody comes in Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So two people doing the same job sharing. We can look at flexible schedules for individuals, vacation time, improved facilities. So all of this, will enhance OCD of the individual. So when we look at OCD, the next part is understanding that it is discretionary behavior. Imagine, which implies that this is not a behavior which can be enforced. It cannot be enforced as a minimum requirement of the job. You cannot say, OCD, that is the minimum behavior required of the job. And the initiative is starting from the employee itself. So OCD surpasses the minimum role expectation from the organization, promoting welfare of co-workers, work groups, and organizations. Therefore, it's nothing but a general compliance behavior directed towards the benefit of the organization and individual benefit as well, belonging to the organization. So it's mutual, two-way. Okay? So when we look at applications in the workplace, we can summarize by saying that when we look at some initiatives like management leadership development, team building, succession planning, performance management, all of this, 4 aspects, OCB really helps in expanding further, getting out the best for the organization. So when we look at OCB, it's a core competency, right? Linkages with sustainable competitive advantage as well, facilitating innovations in the workplace, and also helps in enhancing employee creativity, engagement, and job satisfaction. This is not a concept which is very old. It's right from the 1900s. But like we think about concept of emotional intelligence, this also has ideology with emotions. We're looking at some of the studies which were conducted, and 65, they were very clear that Gaulian and Gautier, who were the researchers, they were very clear that they did not see adequate or sufficient evidence for validity in personality measures for predicting job performance. They could not find it. So It's basically the purpose was to see whether personality measures are a predictor for OCD. Well, it did not show because it was found that the correlation in the study was only negative 0.04 between negative affectivity and altruism. So altruism was very low. When you look at a negative affectivity and compliance, it was negative 0.11. When it was between positive affectivity and altruism, it was negative 0.13. And between positive affectivity and compliance, it was 0.17. So with that, we can conclude that there was no considerable correlation between personality measures and OCD. In 2000, another researcher recognized that there was great theory and research in OCD, but some unfortunate consequences that have been produced. Some of the unfortunate things which have happened, some of the bad things. One of them is lack of recognition. Lack of recognition of some of the similarities and differences in some of the constructs of OCD. Right? So some of the results that really affirm that there were differences
సార్ హెచ్ఓడి సార్ పర్సనల్ ఆఫీసర్
an individual initiative. Okay. It looks at constructive suggestions which are given to us and we take charge at work. Okay. Going further, we look at civic virtue, which is organizational participation and protecting the organization. And lastly, it was self-development. So because it's voluntary behavior, employees engage to improve their knowledge, skills and abilities, and it is expanding the contribution to the organization. So hope everything is clear, right? We come to the next aspect, wherein all of this was studied further, and we were looking at a connection between performance and related management decisions on the employees. So there were three types of organizational justice. One was distributive justice, which is accruing when people believe that they have a reasonable measure of value. The second is the procedural justice, which is relating to the process the organization fosters to attain a resolution And the third one is interactional justice, which describes the grade of fairness of the interactions between individual and organization. So on the two dimensions of OCD, there are two things. Again, general compliance behavior, which is directed towards the organization or organization directed. And the second one is altruistic behavior that benefits specific individuals in the organization and indirectly contribute towards the effectiveness of the individual. Okay, sounds great. All of us together till now, because then we look at some of the theories which are also presented, right? So going further, we saw this, the 7 characteristic features: helping behavior, sportsmanship, loyalty, organizational compliance, civic virtue, self-development, right? It's important to have the understanding of individuals' involvement, voluntary. Okay? Going further, so when we talked about these studies, there were 2 theories which supported the research done till date. Number 1, we saw in motivation theory, the theory of equity, which is about how individuals consider their relationship to others, that is by estimating the ratio of their outcomes, right? Input to the relationship, it's like the output input to compare others, how much are they contributing and how much are they getting in return. So when the inequality is perceived, when inequality is existing, when inequality perceived is greater, then there is greater discomfort, sorrow that individual will feel, right? So related to this theory, equity theory, Organ saw that there was lower level of OCB. If there is lower level of OCB in the organization, it could be due to inequality. That was one important finding of the theory. So this was number 1 theory, which is the equity theory. Then we come to the next theory, which is the social equity theory. So we saw equity, but the next theory, which is about benefits and promotions, the next theory is simply about the social exchange theory. Now, what happens in social exchange theory? Social exchange theory is about receiving, reciprocating to voluntary service. Right? What we get is what we return. It's a pattern of reciprocity in the workplace based on mutual exchanges. There was a researcher called Mohammed in 2010. He noted that there could be significant positive correlation between organizational justice and OCB in case there was this fair reciprocity, in which when we have the fair environmental workplace, there is fair distribution of outcomes in terms of pay, promotion, and incentive, which ultimately will enhance motivation in terms of the behavior, the organizational citizenship behavior. Okay, sounds great. On the slide, you're seeing various benefits of OCB being displayed, where we are looking at reward programs, professional development, training, creating supporting work environment, work-life benefits, and flexibility. Okay. We were looking at some of the various challenges in OCB as well, and that is my last slide. So presentation is over, not the concept yet, because we have to yet see what are the various countries responding to OCB. Okay. So when you look at challenges, it's about addressing diverse motivational needs, overcoming resistance to change, and ensuring that there are consistent strategies, constructive motivation. All of that is in OCD. So when we look at, to summarize, what are the various researches which are done and what are the outcomes in a nutshell? Number one, personality is not a good indicator. Okay. Then there was second research which talked about conceptual confusion at times for the nature of OCD and overlapped similarities. Then there was a significant relationship found between procedural justice and OCD, international justice and OCD. But there was no relationship between distributive justice and OCD. Right? It was another research. We spoke about a study which was a construct validity scale in Indonesia samples with Rahman in 2013. And his hypothesis of the model of confirmatory factor analysis does not have a good fit of data with chi-square. Okay. Another research in 2015 by Chiabaru, he spoke about organization support and behavior, OCD. That said that relationship vary across cultures for sure. The next is, and the last point is the psychological contract of the employee. It is related to the organization and it was related to the OCD of the employee as well. When we look at transformational leadership and organizational learning, then yes, that study, there was positive effect of organizational commitment and organizational citizenship behavior. Now let's look at some of the studies in various countries, starting with Malaysia. So one of the main objectives in Malaysia was looking at procedural justice, and there was basically procedural justice influenced OCD positively. In Indonesia, there was a research done on teachers, and they said that teachers can work with each other on a voluntary behavior outside the organization for formal responsibility in the schools. Right? Samples were based on 11 religious schools, and the outcome was that teachers in religious schools perform their duty based on religious belief. The value that they commonly share is typically the belief is that work must start with a good intention. That was the Indonesian research spoke. Another outcome of the research was that there was sportsmanship. The teachers desired to attain and reach success together, right? The attitude was tolerant with co-workers in performing the job. So one example of this behavior was found in Indonesia, that behavior included and not reporting unimportant problems, right? No need to report unimportant problems or finding fault with co-workers, not required. Respondents showed civic virtue by constructive action and attitude in performing the tasks in the organization. And some examples were including attending meetings voluntarily, right? Giving response to organizational matters that needed prompt problem solving. Okay, I think Professor, we have around 8 minutes more. Yes, and we will conclude at the appropriate time to give time for break. So around 8 to 10 minutes more. We have seen now Malaysia and India. South Korea. Okay, thank you. So South Korea, there was a researcher called Lee in 2013. He suggested the inquiry of procedural justice, transformational leadership, and complexity on OCD. And the model used was the structural equation model. 1,100 employees was the sample in 30 organizations in the Korea National Industrial Complex. Okay, that was what was the study results. It showed that OCB had positive impact on job satisfaction, and there were three circumstances. There were three circumstantial results. Perceived fairness in decision-making process was number one. Number two, when they receive leaders' support and care, OCB flourishes. And number three, when they recognize there is less complexity in the organization process. So the final thing was that OCB could enhance job satisfaction of employees. So another researcher, which was Chiaburu, he conducted a cross-cultural meta-analysis, and there were cross-cultural dimensions in 12 countries. And he did find that there were many significant associations with these modifying of available resources for OCB. In the USA, there was a study which showed a prototypical illustration of cultural settings, which was the perceived organizational support and OCB. So comparing US and China, another researcher, he found out that there was a universal meaning of civic virtue, altruism, and organizational behavior. So the field chosen was the hospitality industry. We found that there was significant increase in OCB in the workmen for hospitality, like the hypothesis which claimed that job involvement mediates the relationship between the aspects of transformational leadership and OCB. We saw South Korea, we did see cross-cultural analysis, US and China, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Ghana. Okay. The last part is typically looking at what typically could be the conclusions and contributions of this OCB. So there were three main benefits, as we saw: better performance ratings by their managers. All those employees who have engaged in OCB have better performance ratings. The second one is looking at gain of rewards, like pay increment, promotions due to better performance rating. And the last is lower chance of being dismissed when the company is downsizing. So lower chances of being dismissed is another aspect which is considered. So lastly, I would summarize by saying that OCB is an important concept where with OCB there is linkages to lower rates of employee turnover, there is lower absenteeism, increase in productivity, increase in efficiency, and of course increase in customer satisfaction. Yes, we look forward to questions from you, if any. Thank you very much for the invite. I'm open to questions.
Ma'am, thank you, ma'am. The Dr. K. Ma'am. Thank you for the session, ma'am. Wonderful session, ma'am, about organizational climate behavior. Thank you, ma'am.
It's a pleasure. Anybody would like to connect, please feel free. I'm just once again sharing my contact details.
Hello, ma'am. This is Akshay, ma'am. I want to give a thank you note, ma'am. Can I?
Yes.
Hello, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That was truly enlightening and thought-provoking. On behalf of entire ICOF team and everyone present here today, I extend our heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Sharmila Malekar, ma'am, for sharing their valuable perspectives on organizing system behavior. Your insights have given us much to reflect on and apply in our personal and professional lives. Thank you so much, ma'am.
It's a pleasure. Bye now.
Thank you, ma'am.
technical. Last session.
It's really an enlightening session. A heartfelt thank you to our panelists, Mr. R. Shakti Narayanan sir, Dr. Kappa Kondal sir, and Dr. Shaktivel sir for sharing their expertise, knowledge, and valuable perspectives. Your expertise has truly enriched our understanding of social sustainability and its role in addressing climate change. Special appreciation to Mr. S. Narayanan sir for the insightful introduction that laid the foundation for today's discussion. A sincere thanks to Mrs. C. Bhuvneshwari ma'am and Mrs. K. Sasirika ma'am for the kind gesture in honoring our panelists. As we conclude panel discussion 2, let's take a moment to reflect on today's key takeaways. Mr. R. Shakti Narayanan sir gave a brief insight about the thought process of a quality and productive entrepreneur, which includes the process that need to be followed to establish a successful business venture, playing a long-term clear vision. Customer need is being considered as an important factor. He also briefed about employer and employee relationship and liberty to the worker and also ways of doing ethical business. Dr. Kappa Kondal sir gave a brief information that climate change has impact in the Indian economy, budget and policy. He also stated the key climate changing indicators like rise in temperature, change in rainfall, etc. Thank you, sir, for presenting us a wide statistical data on the impact of climate change in agri-field. Dr. Saktivel sir, who is the moderator of this session, make this session more impactful and productive. Once again, a big thank you to our panelists for their valuable contribution, to our faculty for their support, and to our participants and audience for your enthusiasm and engagement. With that, we officially conclude panel discussion session 2. Let's stay informed and work together for a brighter and more sustainable future. Thank you.
The greatest danger of artificial intelligence is that people conclude too early that they understand it. Technology is evolving at an unprecedented pace, and at the heart of this transformation lies artificial intelligence. Today, we dive into the world of AI in business, its opportunities, limitations, and the way forward. A very warm evening to everyone present here. Myself, Abhinav, and it is a privilege to welcome you all to panel discussion 3 at this prestigious international conference. Today's discussion revolves around a subject that is shaping industries and economies: artificial intelligence in business, its opportunities and limitations. AI has revolutionized efficiency, decision making, and automation, but it also presents challenges in ethics, data privacy, and workforce dynamics. To guide us through this critical discussion, we have an esteemed panel of experts with us today. Let's begin by getting to know them better. To introduce our distinguished panelists and provide a brief overview of their remarkable contributions, I take great pleasure in requesting Dr. M. Venkatesh Sir, Assistant Professor, to shed light on the credentials of our experts today.
Very good evening, everyone. It is an honor and privilege to welcome you all to panel discussion number 3, Artificial Intelligence in Business Opportunities and Limitations. We are joined by an extraordinary panel of distinguished experts, each of whom brings a wealth, knowledge, experience, and innovation to the critical conversation on AI. And let me take a moment to introduce our esteemed panelists. First, Dr. K.V. Ramamurthy Sir is an Associate Professor of Department of Management Studies for Sri Vishnu Engineering College for Women. Sir has completed his PhD from Acharya Nagarjuna University, Guntur, which is in Andhra Pradesh, and his master's degree in finance and from HR in High-Tech College of Engineering Technology, Hyderabad. He has undergraduate degree under the completed the commerce from Kakatiya University, Telangana. Dr. K.V. Ramamurthy Sir has more than 18 years of experience in working as an associate professor at various institutions, and his areas of specialization is economics, accounting, HR, and production management. We welcome you, sir. And next we have Mr. Suresh Parnivel. He's a global head of data and MI, Global Market Operations, Barclays. In his role, he has committed the empowered market operations and business with the data-driven decision making, drive operational excellence and business intelligence. As a market ops data domain owner, he has a partner with CDO in driving continuous improvement of data and records and data quality in line with the group data management strategy policy and standards. He oversees cost management, data management services, operations control, and service optimization teams regionally in India. And we also have our own students, one from 3A and another one from Nauchet, and then another one. Welcome you all. And over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for this wonderful introduction. And I'm really happy to share that for the first time in international conference, our very own students, Navjot and Udbhav of 3A are joining us today. Before we proceed, it's a privilege to felicitate our esteemed panelists. And for this, I request Mr. G. Ramkumar sir, CMA, Assistant Professor, and Dr. R. Sundaravadivel sir to kindly do the honors. I kindly request Mr. G. Ramkumar sir to felicitate K.V. Ramamurthy sir. I request Dr. Sundaravadivel sir to state other panelists. Now I request Dr. Sundaravadivel sir to kindly give the fruit basket to the students as a gesture of gratitude. Thank you, sir, for honoring our esteemed panelists. Now that we have set the stage, it's time to dive into the heart of today's discussion, artificial intelligence in business. I now hand over the session to our esteemed panelists. Let the discussion begin.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you had your tea break. No? Yeah. We didn't want our session to be just after lunch. Now it's going to be the last, and I hope it will be a very useful session for all of you. I'm really glad to be here. Thanks for having me. So probably how we're going to do this is like three sections, right? The first section, we'll talk a little bit around how the data and analytics kind of leads towards AI and how that empowers businesses. And then second section, a little bit around kind of what does AI mean practically for business how so I will share this exercise now. And we'll be joined by your friends here. I think we're going to ask some challenging questions. And the last section, maybe it's more open for you, right? In terms of any questions you may have as to how relevant these topics are for you. Because like maybe like next year or in 2 years' time, you'll all be coming out and you'll all want to work for different businesses, applying the knowledge and all the theoretical learning that you've done into helping the businesses to grow, right? So anything you need, like how you skill yourself. So we'll talk about that. All right. To start with, right? This is the quote that I often say to all my colleagues and my peers, right? In God we trust. All others have to bring data. And this is a quote from Edward Deming. Isn't that true, right? If you have in this age, right, even if your parents, if you're going to go and ask them something, you'll have to go by data. Why do you need a laptop? Why do you need to join a course? How is that going to help you? What it's going to bring? So you need to add a lot of data in any walk of your life. So how does this data help, right? So we're talking about artificial intelligence, data analytics, data science, a lot of things. So all of this can only be useful if you have the data. Without data, almost like there is nothing you can do. So to start with, maybe let's take an example, right? Like I'm from a markets business, right? So meaning we deal with stocks, bonds, mutual funds, futures, options, all the different instruments, right? So now for any kind of the data analytics I do, so being a like we call like a data analyst, technologist, right? So all we need is data to do analytics, but we'll have to convert that to information. Only then the businesses can use them. How many of you have a demat account or have you traded or anything? Very few. Okay. And how do you do that? Like if you're going to look at like say an ICICI bank stock or any, you look at a lot of data aspects to it. Make a decision if you want to invest in that. Do you want to buy today or do you want to sell? All those good details, right? So that's exactly what we do in our. And for all of this, maybe I'll talk about a few things, right? Just to kind of maybe put a little bit context to AI, right? So your artificial intelligence is nothing but like how you're able to simulate the human knowledge, like in terms of the intelligence that knowledge has, right, into an machine. It's no different from like a physics or chemistry. As long as you understand how you're able to code it, then you'll be able to reflect that. All right. Now we'll start with a very quick exercise. I'm going to first ask the panelists and probably come to you guys as well. Sir, what's the most common AI engine or tool that you use commonly?
Commonly, as so far I get to know, most of the academicians so most of the people like academicians like me and most of the people now in the present generation, they are using ChatGPT as a big one, where you can see the number of users also for ChatGPT rather than the other AI. And latestly, we got a new AI tool from China, DeepSeek. So this is also that I think the users, especially Indian users, are also increasing nearly. As per the latest news given by the government of India, all over the world, Indians are using it for 13 to 15% of Indians are enrolled to it. And as per safety precautions, Australia, Japan, and UK, USA already banned DeepSeek regarding the privacy matters. And regarding meanwhile in ET time, Economics Times of India recent news, we can view that the same question has been asked our Indian government regarding the influence of this DeepSeek on Indian economy and privacy and national security reasons. So they come to know that they are going to announce some precautions in the usage, especially for the users. Right now, they are in the development of these. So they are our Indian government is more concentrated on national security reasons. Why? Because the data, whoever the users who have registered or the users using of DeepSeek, their information, the data which has been already stored in China is software. So it becomes a threat for the national security. So reason in this way they are going to educate the people. So there it seems there should be some security reasons that there should be a common regularity framework. All international wide has to be developed according to my knowledge. So why? Because technology has occupied all the space. It became limitless. So we need to think about ethical practices. So in this aspect, as per my experience, this ChatGPT is mostly used. That is nearly 3,335 millions or some amount of figure users are currently using it, and it is very popular in a less span of time. It became a popular tool among academicians, researchers, and students also. This is about.
As you're talking about students, let's hear it from them. Like, what's the popular AI tool they are currently using?
Good afternoon. So first of all, I gave the answer for this. We most probably use the ChatGPT and recently Gemini from Google. Students use most for that, and it's very useful for us also in making presentation and any information regarding this release.
Yeah. So, like as Sir was saying, right? Like, of course, ChatGPT tops the list, followed by DataSeek, which is coming very, very close. And you can see all have seen in the news, right? And Gemini comes third. In my organization, a lot of mail, Word, PowerPoint, and it really helps to draw data insights from that. All right, maybe I'll flip this to the businesses and opportunities. Sir, how do you, given you're doing your managing the management studies, right? As we've seen a lot of management institutions, how do you see them approaching or understanding AI?
As my observations, my experience, AI is helpful for the students and academic sake for the researcher, but it should not replace the natural power which has been given by the God. So my observation is the current generation is much more dependent upon AI and they are losing their intellectuality. So we need to talk about this also in this regard. And one thing I observed in usage of AI, the AI is a human-made instrument, tech tool, which whatever the data we give, it used to execute that. And one thing I observed is the way of asking the question is also very, very important. And as my experience, the user should not blindly believe the data whichever given by the AI. We need to look after why, because sometimes it manipulates the things and bypass the things what we ask, and it gives whatever the data which has been fed in it. That I observed. And as per industrial experience also, as so far I came, like LinkedIn is very professional website for academicians and other business people also. So it is also running some recruitment thing also. I mean, it is also one of the platform for jobs or recruitment these things. So here you see the users are facing a lot of issues. Why? Because the data which has been given in that is given the codes or the terminology whichever has been fed in the system should be educated by the job seekers also. Why? Because simply giving the things which already it has fed in, we apply the job for through LinkedIn, and we that does not use the keywords which has been specified in the system. It may become a barrier to the person, so he may not get any calls from it. The same thing you can observe that the gender bias also is one of the issue where probably this is becoming major gender bias. Why? Because most of the rules which has been given the input data in the system is mostly related to gender male-oriented jobs. So where the females who are giving the jobs, I mean applying for the jobs, so they are not opting the things. So that is also one of the things that we need to observe. So as per my
okay. Maybe if I share my views, right? Like, so like usually any kind of analytics or data science or artificial intelligence, right? That we look at it from a purpose. There need to be a purpose for which we want this entities. Again, taking a very common, right? See, for like any banking or financial service institutions, right? We have millions of users, and practically it's impossible. Back in the day, right? Like imagine going back 5-10 years. If you have some challenge with your account, you'll have to call it. And as the user base increases, your waiting time on call also increases. How many times have you all called like an Airtel or a Vodafone and literally been on the call for 10 minutes until this keeps getting the music and no one to answer, right? Now the businesses are not towards that, right? So if you look at it, what are the common for any business? Have some common questions that comes from the various users, and using all the intelligence that the company has put together as to categorically what are all the different questions that usually raised, then they develop chatbot. Now, I think like maybe for you're all clever people, right? Quite intelligent. Imagine, I'm not trying to tell anything of our parents or our older generation. Let's call our parents, right? And when they use this, when someone says, "Hey, I'm Anita responding," or I'm Alicia responding, and they almost answer to your questions as they completely understand. This is how AI is put in use. And so like so even from my our business standpoint, right, we have an accuracy somewhere around 80-85% of the time. Our chatbots are able to solve the questions. When they are not able to, then we redirect them to probably like a more appropriate user or a customer care, then now their load reduces significantly. Rather than, let's say, answering about 10,000 questions or queries, it becomes like hardly 100, 150, just more manageable. So this is where we need to use AI with a purpose. We need to understand the business challenge or an opportunity first and apply that appropriately. To maybe, like, just as an analogy, right? We've seen animations in a lot of movies, right? To compare an animation that you see in Avatar to probably our Tamil directors have tried animation with the Vadivel. Can you compare? Right? So you have to do it for a purpose. It only serves the purpose if there's the right cost. So I believe AI is a very powerful utility tool which we all need to understand, be aware. Right? I mean, for you students, right, what I feel is put the learning deep into it. First create that awareness. Once you have the awareness, depending on the stream of academics you're studying or what to become, right? Like in 5 years' time, you'll probably have a goal that you want to be an entrepreneur, or you want to work for a bank, or you want to probably set up your own shop, right? Like then how to utilize this. Now maybe I'll turn it to the students. Any of you, if you have any questions along the business opportunities.
So talking about the AI, I think you said it's very important. Before learning, there should be awareness. So as sir said, I think 90% over here only use ChatGPT because the awareness is only like limited. So now, sir,
just to interrupt, right? You cannot use ChatGPT, so you do not work on any research. Try and find something, put it into a paper, and submit it to your professors. Right? That's not the right choice. But you're not having the understanding, using it for reference. So that saves a lot of time, right? Otherwise, if you have to go and look at like 10, 15 books, get to a relevant topic and draw out the insights, right? It's very hard. But like as long as you're using it to get out all of those details, that'll be great.
any AI tools which you recommend for the students, which will be the upcoming 5 years, which will be very helpful. Maybe like a job perspective of this.
Okay. I thought we'll save it for the last, but like maybe I'll. Can we save it for the last so we can?
Yes, I agree with you, sir, regarding the positiveness of AI on the business point of view. But a coin has both sides, so we need to look after the other side also, like the thing privacy, transparency is also very, very important. So where the AI is taking off the data, so it can be used. It can be used. See, as we know that the technology has been developed a lot. The meanwhile, the same thing, the opposite things are also developing a great, especially in banking and this stock market scenario you can observe. Like you can see that recently digital arrest has becoming one of the thing as you observe. So like this, we need to look after the other coin also, like transparency, privacy, data security, and accountability. These are very, very important. That's why in the initial level I told you that there should be necessary to draft some regularities. As you know, things when the technology involved in the business, legal formulation also has been done. It become a very challenge for the businesses also to protect the privacy. Becoming day by day, becoming challenges for protecting. Why? Because the people are coming with newer idea. to make the fraud, especially in banking and financial sector. Also, the major things we are facing lot of issues in this regard. So I, as per my observations and my knowledge, we need to look after both positives and the pros and cons of the particular artificial intelligence, which is widely used in business. As we know that it is a time-saving pattern, and we can see that it can do a multiple person's job with minutes of time, etc. But in the same way, there is a necessary to upskill and reskill both the employees and the customers and the students, the upcoming generation also. So we, along with the parallel of AI, the parallel development of AI, we also need to focus on the human upskilling and reskilling pattern of their knowledge. So then, if there is a synchronization between the AI and human being, then obviously we can remove the problems or the issues arise in the industry, education, academicians, or whatever it is. So this is my perception. Thank you, sir.
Sir, I have a question for you. A couple of months back, our Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited France for a global summit in AI. So in that, he was trying to tell that we have to use AI more, and you were saying the limitations for AI.
Yes. Yes, it's a thing that we need to generate. We need to generate you more explanationary AI. That is very, very important. Where the Modi has given that, humanitarian AI. He had quoted a word humanitarian AI in the meeting. And also he had challenged the AI to give the picture of left-hand writing in that meeting. I hope you have seen that. So this is, you need to understand. Whenever you ask an AI to give the left-hand writing image, it fails in it. That means still there is something to improve. So it is not up to the, not saying I'm not defining the potentiality of it, but still there is necessary to improvise in this area. So we need to add on. That is,
I think it's true, right? So like now, our data is all almost become cloud, right? Because one of the primary challenge a lot of organizations, especially the government agencies and organizations, faces the data privacy issue. It's utmost important to ensure the data is safe. Whilst you get a lot of risk with it, like if it gets in hands of people who do not use it for the rightful way, then it can cause more damage than. But like there are like ways on data safety. And we also do it in phases, right? There is no, and again, this is where you lot, right? Like the younger generation are going to add a lot more. Coming with an awareness, not just from a business outcome, but also put your ethics on top, right? Like ensuring you have the right business ethics. We've seen a lot of, again, the regulators, right? Like there's another angle. So the regulators are equally intelligent and powerful.
So meanwhile, same as more awareness among the people. The ultimate sufferers are people, the public. So whatever the technology we are developing, we need to bring to the society whatever we are thinking to bring to the society. Meanwhile, first we need to awareness. For what sake we need to use. So what are the pros and cons of uses of this? So such type of awareness programs are also very, very necessary. Why? Because recently also one fraud has been happened. An IT employee who got a mobile as a gift or lottery something. When he insert his SIM and on, his 2.5 crores of rupees has been So this is a thing that, see, both are the hacking technology and the AI technology are both are doing parallelly. So there is a necessary for industry, government, and academic institutions to make awareness among the coming generations regarding what are the level of usage, approximate level. So what happens if we use the AI in this way? We need to create awareness among them how to use it and how should not to use it. So that is also very very essential. And also it is essential that to keep in academics also about this. So about my perspective regarding this is there is a emergency requirement of AI including in the syllabus, so that the current generation, the current graduates can know the things and they can pass to the next generation. It becomes, we need to definitely, there is necessary to include this topic, this subject as emerging area in the academics.
Absolutely. Why don't we ask if any of your friends have any questions before we maybe switch to academic? That's okay. Any volunteers? Like, if there are any questions, maybe we can take 2 or 3 questions now.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for your valuable insight. It was really inspiring. I feel like most of them will be would have got so much inputs from you. So my question is that, like, what if you are a teenager now and you had the AI technology, and how you can use that, and how would your life be easier?
That takes me back to my college days, especially. Of course, as all of you, I think you still have your final year project and Viva. We used to, like, once we, of course, like, reveal my age by telling was, but we literally used to have printouts. So as I said, so like usually a group of 5, right? In terms of combining our thoughts, researching, as I said, like we used to at least refer at least 5 to 10 books, right? If we can take the relevant as a comprised right? And then converting it into a more presentable, right? I don't even present so get it right, then maybe 5 or 10 drafts to get the final. And I still remember we did the presentation, right? To be able to get the slides, right? I can tell when it was, right? It's probably early 2000s, right? We had to Google a lot to how to make even the presentation ready and go to people who use that. So now, using your chat GPT or probably Gemini, all of this like within minutes actually not hours. And also it makes your pitch, right? Like when you want to really present a project, get your professors and sponsors to get you the sponsorship for that. Right? But you should not be wasting all your energy on these administrative stuff. You should be thinking more around ideation, how to get the outcome. Not so I would say it would have helped a lot. And again, I could have done it more data oriented. So back in the day, even if you're doing a project around, like say, election data, right? Imagine like it's very hard to get the data back. Now you want like plenty of sources where you can bring in the thing. Mostly I may have done it for Tamil Nadu, right? Now you can do it like across the globe. You can get data anywhere you want, and you can draw a lot more insights now. So yeah, definitely. I think so. You're in a blissful world compared to us.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, I agree with you, sir. But yes, as I agree, but don't mind that what I am talking about the limitations or don't mind like that. So it is a very supportive tool for academicians, like students, for teachers, and scholars, where it is very difficult to get the data where when we are doing research also we need to become data sets and availability of data is very easy now for the present generation, and making the things is also become very easy. Advanced tools, these all, but the primary communication skills are going back. There we need to focus, like listening, writing, reading. These things, they are also the primary. As my, we should not forget the base. As an academician, I know that I used to correct the student papers, etc. I can see how people are writing their answers. So they are making the things, they are presenting everything is okay, but the execution where the writing skills are going back. So the basic, growing with the technology is important. Along with that, we should not forget our foundation. So there, the student should concentrate. So this is my.
We could take one more question before the review. Any questions from the girls side?
So I would like to get a question from girls side.
All right, keep thinking. Maybe we'll go to your question. I think you answered just question, sir.
So the awareness, how what are the tools which can be like these 5 years very useful for our younger generation, and AI tools which can be very helpful either in business perspective or even in job, finding a job.
Okay. I'll start. So there are two things, right? The first, as I said, increase your awareness, right? Now you've got a lot of your beginner, like AI or AWS, right? You have it around maybe LinkedIn, so you could use one of that to kind of introduce yourself. And so to me, going back, right? I come from technology back, but nevertheless, when you used to have like your C, Java, right? It's now Python. So your Python code is not that hard either. With all your tools, it can a lot of things are drag and drop these days. I would say if you are keen in AI, learn the basics of Python as well, and then understand the concepts. Because that's very important. Right? Like, tell me if I'm talking native Latin, but like maybe if you go and take one of those beginner courses, right, you may be able to relate really well. So it's very simple, right? As you would have anything in your commerce, right? To get your business right, you need to get your numbers right. Then your numbers, statistics. If you're very strong at that, like any level of complex commerce solution, you'll be able to use it. So this way, get your concepts like, say, we've got something like a linear regression. Maybe if we all studied really well in your 11th, 12th grade, we had it. We had the basic concept of regression. All of that happened because these were all stepping stones for your statistics, right? course, increase your understanding of neural networks because that's the base for a lot of your generative AI these days. Gen AI is another buzzword in AI business. It's all based on your networks. Maybe understanding those concepts. As I said, it might sound a lot complex, but if you spend, like, say, an hour or two taking the beginner course, maybe I'm happy to share it with Ma'am or Shamsa, the course details, share it more widely to the students, right? So it's all free. So that's the beauty as well, right? Pay much like the Coursera or LinkedIn, right? It's also free. Once you get interest, then invest. Then probably invest in somewhere and learn a little more deeper around it. And so these days, like we call it Jupyter Notebook area with Python, right? That's free. And you could find something interesting for you. And so the most important thing is you can make use of this solution for running your day-to-day life. Somewhere like you're managing things in Excel, right? I don't know if maybe the ladies might kind of relate more, right? If you're managing your day-to-day accounts, your monthly salary, how your expenses, where you want to put savings, all of that, right? Rather than doing it manually in Excel or something, if you're able to spend a little bit more time, it becomes much easier. So you'll be within minutes, you'll be able to manage your monthly accounts better.
So my question is to you also. What kind of AI should be taught in colleges and schools? What kind of academics should be included through creating awareness for AI, how to use it, what to not use, and its safety and all?
Right now, every graduate required problem solving skills. We are we are in a very complicated world. Problem solving skills are very essential. For solving the problems, what we need data. So how to get the data? The basic things. How to get the data? So getting data right now in the present scenario is very easy. Why? Because digital marketing, digitalizing all the things. So we have data analyticals like financial analyticals. So the main what banking or financial institutions do, analyzing the data which are being gathered through different sources and giving it as a to the given software. AI. Is it right, sir? So based on that, it solves the issues arised in the market. Maybe to the customer, or it may be to the employee, or it may be to the investor. So now most of the people are not aware about stock analysis technique, correction techniques, like Ichimoku. It is new to Indian researcher also. So very little research has been done in India with this technique. This is also one of the technical tool which is used to predict or analyze the stock market. So as most of the research has been done in the US, UK, it is a Japan developed skill. It has been the tool has been developed in 1966. But in Indian scenario, the research in this has been done less. Like this, the new things which should support first, basically we need to include some big data courses. So at a time we can't use such a Python coding like this. We can't introduce to the people. So semester after semester we need to add on the things. Okay. So that will help the students to. See here, AI is not restricted to only technical people. AI should be known by all the people, all type of graduates, not only technical, not irrespective of the stream. Everyone should have the knowledge regarding AI. Like as I told, Python, SQL. So like Power BI, Tableau, Advanced Excel, these things. First, we need to focus on the advanced advanced Excel, Power BI, which is visualizing the data. So I hope you understand. Is it right, sir? Sir, is
Yes,
it right?
sir. I got my answer.
I'm getting the way. Whether it, please correct me. So, first of all, we need to know data. What is the importance of data, and how to get the data, how to analyze the data, and how to use the data with AI for making easy users. So in this area, the academics also should step by from foundation onwards, irrespective of the course. First of all we need to know the basics. Then we need to add visualization, and then we need to add coding. I hope is it right, sir? Python and SQL will add some coding. Like you see, Salesforce course. It is there are two things. One admin and the another one is programming. I think. So coding. It is based on coding only. These are the basic things. So as per my knowledge and my things I am saying. So you can correct me.
Sir, you're absolutely spot on. I think you're challenging my position at least now.
I guess
no, it's absolutely right. I mean, so I feel like that needs to be the balance between theoretical learning, which introducing the basics of a lot of things I said, right? So you have a more disciplined way of learning. So the one good thing, so there are a lot of like contrary views about our Indian education system, right? We are not open, we are very disciplinary, and all those things. So, but like in the early years, it helps. It gets you a discipline to learn with more conceptual understanding, basic understanding. Given our going slightly on a preaching mode, but like say our parents, say we're all blessed because our parents are willing to spend for us until we can get to 20 years, 21 years. So I've been in UK, right? They're literally, once you're out of school, you're on. None of the parents pay for your graduation. They'll have to work in McDonald's, they need to work on KFC, earn, and then like they take a break, they do the UG, and then they work for another 5-10 years, and then they do their PG. But like here, like we're all so from that sense, like having that disciplined approach of learning is important. But at the same time, I request the professors, right? Try and as exactly how you're doing now. Try and introduce the students to the organizations, institutions, the business of it. If you're teaching the commerce concepts, right? Maybe try and bring one of the related a business challenge for them to utilize. So this is where you can start to apply these tools better. So that area is always, I'm sure, like the schools are doing really, they're trying to make that balance more and more every day. That helps. So I would say 50% theoretical, strengthen your basics, academics like your colleges help, then proactively try and apply your learning in terms of some sorts into your real life.
So, I think like the courses which they provide, more than that, it's our own interest. It's our own interest to learn AI with, as previous panels discussed. So AI is now like 5 years ahead of us, but we need to be 5 more years ahead to catch up and adapt. So that's how you can upskill yourself and adapt to the current scenario. So it's more of a self learning as of now. There might be courses in a few years.
You're absolutely right. It's a self-learning. Yeah, choose your your choice how to learn. It doesn't need to be. It could be like an interactive online. It could be a podcast. There are a lot of podcasts available. So if you're more a listener rather than a reader, right? Then you could listen, right? Like kind of just like half an hour a day, listen to a good podcast. There are a lot of brilliant folks who introduce a lot of these concepts. So whatever medium you want to learn is not, but the willingness to learn is there.
Willingness and have to be aware that there are these podcasts. So I need to thank you when sir create an awareness on this much is there in the area. Also, sir saying the limitations as well. Of course, I think the pros and cons to anything. So I like to thank sir as well for introducing the limitations, the privacy and data.
So thank you for the session. It was quite insights. So my question is, since everything is AI oriented these days, what is the one sector or one area which isn't influenced or affected by AI? Or what the one sector which is not replaced by AI?
See, human and human intelligence, I would say, is irreplaceable. You can't replace that. You can use AI to make things more effective, efficient, and easy. Like, at the end of the day, someone's going to either like train your machine learning on the AI. Someone's so coming to your question, so like kind of all areas. So where there is a very high risk, unless you have a 100% accuracy, I don't think you will. Right? So even if you look at like medical sciences, right, there are robots like just assisting the operation, but they will only assist. You still need like a oversight from someone to be able to ensure that that's 100% right. So as I said, like to Sir's earlier points, right? Once we do all these things to make it more effective, it's very important we be cautious that it doesn't do any harm. So anywhere that is like a high risk, your AI will be implemented very cautious and more accurately.
Recently, only one surgery has been done by AI. It has been succeed for the guidance of doctors. We are not against the AI, but see, as you asked, human values cannot be replaced by any technology. So that is very, very important for society. So whenever you apply it, it should not overcome the things, what values or ethics, what we are giving to the society. It should not overcome. Okay. So that consciousness of using AI, consciously we are using AI, is not harm for anyone. That is very, very important.
Thank you, sir.
So any questions from others?
Sir, I'm asking. I'm not that Jesus Aladdin has said it has been paid as and my question is Barclays trying to create any AI like Aladdin or I say how you guys have already have created an AI to make investment decisions like Aladdin?
Okay, so Barclays is, as you may have already known, right? So we are into financial services business, not like a product for end users, right? So what we may do is we may use our native AI utilities to provide our clients the ability for them to explore our products, our services. But this will not be something that we will be providing as an AI solution for other other companies to use. So from that standpoint, no. We are invested in Salesforce, got a very strong ties with Microsoft from Amazon for many years, and we leverage all the, but we are not in the business to create AI products.
So, what's your take on AI on crypto? Like AI is massive, right? On taking intelligent decisions and collecting data. What do you think AI on crypto's network?
They have it. I think a lot of
right now the hyperliquid is on top of the. But what do you think? What will happen on next 5 years on AI? Will there be any change in upcoming years?
It's very hard to predict, right? I mean, it will get better, right? The effectiveness, accuracy will definitely get better. At the same time, the people who will want to use it, like especially when it comes to your financial markets, right? So it will also be used on both sides, right? Like we use it for investors who wants to take advantage of the tool to make a recommendation. It will also be used for disrupting the markets. So it's both sides. But if anything we do, right? Like for example, it's not investment advice. I'm not certified for that. But any dear friends or family, I ask them to avoid features or options unless you are in that business. So your business is something into investing or that business, that's fine. Say otherwise, if you're learning like really hard in another business, don't gamble with it. But make more informed decisions based on the data and kind of your understanding. Don't go by like my neighbor is invested in crypto, let me also invest. My neighbor has made lakhs in options, let me also make it. Or seeing all those YouTube folks, right? See, if they are earning so much, why are they in YouTube trying to make videos? Because they are earning money from putting YouTube videos, right? So I would say, this will also help, also distract. So we need to be kind of very careful about how we use it.
So as a graduate, you need to start investing right now itself. Why? Because the environment, the economic environment is more and more complicated. So if you I'm not saying that to invest in the stock, you can go for liberalizing your risk by entering into mutual funds also. Okay.
Even Sachin says so you can do it.
Yes. So how will you evaluate the ethical aspects of using AI business?
See, as I told, accountability, transparency, and regularity framework, these are very, very important. If they are conformed, then we can say that it is up to the whatever the practices which the business is doing through AI, it should be ethical. So what is ethics? It's simply called as values. We need to do the things with values, doing business with value. That is itself says that application of ethics. If you do whatever the tool you are using, if you do with the transparency and accountability, then obviously nothing goes wrong. Okay. So as we know that the policies which has been drafted in the industries, so every company has corporate governance practices. So in the policies which they have kept in the paper, it should be executed perfectly. I hope you understand. Whatever the policies which has been drafted by the companies, the business firms, if they execute their business as per the policy, it does not affect anything. We have a lot of regularity bodies are there, like SEBI, RBI, like insurance regularity bodies. Like this, lot of regularity bodies are there. So when whatever the regularity body schemes or whatever the reforms made by the regularity body, it has to be followed by the organizations. So whether it is applying AI or any advanced tool, it is not primary. Primary is doing ethically what they have stated in their policies. They are putting something in the paper, okay, that they are going to apply these type of policies or etc. But execution, it is missing. So the execution should be there. So while coming to AI, definitely they need to set some regularity, not national wide, but also international wide. Also they need to set some regularities like WTO, World Trade Organizations, where we are also exporting and we are also importing sources and technology, human beings, human technology, whatever it is. So this also AI also is one of the tool. It is one of the product. Every organization like Google, like even Genpact recently also stated that they are also going to make an advantage by this technology. They are also going to invest crores of rupees in this AI technology. So it is a business model. AI is a business model, but doing it with ethical practices is very, very essential to protect the interest of the society. So ultimately, society is important. Without the society, there is no employees, no customers, stakeholders are from the society. Ultimately, we need to do positive things to the society. So how? Ethical practices. So that is what I can tell.
Only thing I will add is still all the business organizations, as you may have heard about credit risk, right? That is also an element risk. So it's right from me, in case if I'm leaving my organization to build a model, right? I'm accountable. Similarly, my business head, my CEO, we're all accountable. If it uses clients in a wrong way to make money, we could be behind costs. So it's not like just a company's account. It goes down to many levels. So now I think that level of scrutiny is there, and that way, yes, by both voluntarily and mandatorily, the ethics have to be.
So this can come by AI auditing, data auditing, and AI auditing. So, as are told, that accountability can come by auditing practices. So, where we used to audit our accounts, similarly, we should also do that auditing practices for AI data, what data they are gathering and what data they are giving input. So, there also some auditing has to be done.
Sir, I have a question. What are your thoughts on my question? If we give the all access to upgraded AI version to do the business activities, it will how ends like it will be profit for the human or it ends in a dangerous way for human.
So we will always look at the positives, right? It's definitely we use it for a purpose to make it better for us, right? Fully of our business or organization. Yes, but the only challenge is in case if you don't have the full understanding, sometimes you call some of these models as a black box. So 9 out of 10 times you would have been profitable for you. The 10th time, whereas adverse, that could take away all the profit. So that's the only thing you need to be. So you need to be fully aware on why and how you're deploying AI. So things like chatbot, the risk is relatively low, right? It will be a customer dissatisfaction, right? Like if consistently your chatbot makes it wrong, right? That's fine. You will have the customer later. Business is not good, but you can't make it with, as we said, right? Behavioral science, where you're using the assisted operations. You can take chances. So yeah, but like as an individual, it's always possible. You can leverage its features and abilities to be more effective around. I will add one more.
as told chat box. So did the organization replace business processing units in a chat box as a replace? No, obviously. Why? Because there are some limitations for chat box. Every issue cannot be solved by the chat box, or every customer cannot get the answer. So that's why business processing, business outsourcing process is continuously happening. Customer care, we are calling if we are not satisfied with the chat box. We are solving there.
Okay, any business owner will not like your AI to manage their audit, because only auditors will know how to manage their books. And also, see, AI is a tool. That's all. Who has to apply the tool? We ourselves. Ultimately, under our guidance only it should apply. So it comes under, once again, we will be in the picture. So,
Sorry for disturbance. If we give the internet access to AI, it learns itself and apply all the methods on a project. There is no need for humans afterwards. The AI gets learns and grow its knowledge itself. There will be no any human needs after AI gets knowledge of it.
You're right. You're right from AI in terms of it's not like machine learning where you have to try to find. But the output from AI, someone's going to use it, right? It's not for like a mission. Someone's still going to use it. Right? For what purpose you're using it is very important. That's what I'm saying.
As sir told, we cannot be completely reliable on AI because sir mentioned AI cannot do audit work. So if you want to deliver a stock to a customer, you cannot do in chat box or you cannot use AI. You have to go to the worker to deliver the stock or product, whichever one. So basically the thing is we cannot be completely reliable on AI. There is a called artificial intelligence and a human intelligence. And over the human intelligence, nothing can be great.
Excellent.
As you said, human intelligence basically the difference, major difference is logical. You don't know what your chatbot and all have some limitations because they can even if you give internet access, there are some limitations which I think theoretically it won't be. Maybe in practical, if you would like go to a chat box and try questioning, let's say Swiggy. So if you have an order which has been misplaced or not taken, so you first talk with the chatbot, explain that. Then when the chatbot limitations are at its peak, it transfers your call to a executive. So basically, it can be used as a tool, but it cannot overcome the human intelligence because it doesn't have that logical thinking and common sense. Basically, common sense is a very huge factor which differs human intelligence and artificial.
100%. But we need to use this AI for business intelligence practices. We need to use it for positive. Okay. Thank you.
What a truly engaging and insightful session. We all use AI in our everyday lives, but how we use it has always been a problem. But this discussion has provided us with key takeaways that will inspire you to think critically about AI and develop interest and then invest will be my main takeaway from this, sir. I would like to express our deepest gratitude to our panelists for sharing their knowledge, experiences, and perspectives on the evolving role of AI. Thank you, Navjot and Udbhav, for your valuable contributions in this panel. And to our audience, thank you for your continuous engagement in this session. As Sir said, AI should serve a purpose, and I hope day one of this international conference served its purpose. So let's all meet tomorrow for the day 2 of this international conference, and I hope your participation will be key for that. Thank you.